Emily was born on July 25th, 1988, to her dad Terry Receiver and her mum Tina Receiver. This momentous event took place in Fairfax, Virginia. The whole world rejoiced. Her dad celebrated by subscribing her to a Book of the Month club, and as her library grew, so did her love for reading. To this day, reading holds strong on the list of things Emily likes. After Emily was born, her family quickly grew. Her mum and dad continued on and had Jeffrey, Tyler, and Jennifer, 4 kids in 5 years. Emily went to kindergarten in Memphis, Tennessee. Kindergarten was all-day kindergarten. Emily's mother will tell you this was the best thing to happen to Emily. All-day kindergarten was fantastic, except for torturous nap time. Emily couldn't nap. She was amazed that other children actually took naps. It baffled her. Right after kindergarten, Emily moved from Tennessee to Pennsylvania. It was time for first grade. Emily attended Arrowhead Elementary School. Her elementary school was very close to many historical places, so they were often taking trips to places like Gettysburg or downtown Philadelphia, even the state capitol building. Field trips were not just limited to school, though. Her mother loved field trips, and whenever they had a day off from school, she would take them on a field trip to some place like the museum, or a jelly bean factory, or a cave, and once even down into a coal mine. Experience will play a huge part in Emily's teaching. She will show her students as much as possible because it tricks students into learning without thinking they're learning, and it allows them to retain what they learn better. One monumental learning experience that Emily had when she was about 12 years old. Her parents had what they thought to be the best idea in the whole world, to drive across the country and see everything that America had to see. The experience was dreadful. Sitting in a car for hours and hours and hours with your 2 little brothers who tease you and a little sister who wiggles too much almost killed Emily. She did see some really great things though, like Old Faithful at Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, and St. Louis Arch. She even got to sit in guano, which is bat poop. One would think that this was the worst part of the trip, but it wasn't. Her parents made her hike up the Grand Canyon. Emily hated it and still hates the Grand Canyon. It did teach her something though that will translate into her teaching career. Make kids do stuff they don't and won't necessarily like. It will teach them how to generate opinions and be able to have better insight and conversational skills. By the time Emily was going into junior high school, it was time to move again, this time to Indiana. Emily was now a Hoosier. During high school, Emily had a chance to participate in a short study abroad with her French class. More French was learned in those 3 weeks journeying around France, up in the snowy Alps of Mont Blanc to the rocky beaches of Monaco in the French Riviera, than 4 years of French in a classroom had. It was more experience, Emily's favourite way to learn. This concept of the benefits of experience was further fortified on subsequent trips around the world to places like Denmark, Sweden, England, Mexico, and many, many islands. Emily went on a lot of adventures after high school and then moved to New York City, and even though she played more than she attended, she graduated from Hunter College in spring 2010. After graduating with her bachelor's degree, she continued on to pursue her master's in education, which is where you can find Emily now. In summation, Emily has been a learner her entire life. She learns best when she's interested in the subject she's learning about, when she's actively experiencing and actively doing, like when she went on field trips with her family or travelled the world, and when she doesn't know that she's learning. As a teacher, Emily will strive to keep her class stimulated and interested in their learning. She will make sure that she knows her students as people and as learners, and will accommodate to their needs and interests. She knows that students need someone to guide them and will take her students on an adventure through learning because that is the best method.